Welcome to the Coaches Show. I'm Adam Howe, your host. I'm along here with Wildcats coach Ryan Boyer. Coach Boyer, we're getting ready to enter week 5 now, coming off a win last week. Welcome to the show.
I appreciate you having me on.
Hey, we're going to talk a little bit about the game from last week before we take a break and then go to tonight's game. But recapping last week, and I'm going to follow my notes from this week, and hopefully I'm right in order this week, right? So I was actually at the game. So Wildcats received an opening kickoff against facing Sherwood, an 0-4 team. We talked about how we get ready for them, and actually took the opening kickoff. And then I believe it was on third down, we put together a sustained little drive there. And then on third down, Brady, we saw him use his legs, kind of move around, and found Gage in the end zone for a. I think that was a good job by Gage, just finding a way to get open.
Yeah, it really was. You rep it, and it's kind of, and I know we'll get into that, but just kind of Gage's night.
Right.
It was a great way to get it going.
We're definitely going to get into that. So anyway, Gage catches the opening touchdown, 2-point conversion by Brady. Made it 8-0 pretty quick. I think there was 9-something left on the clock still in the first. So then I think just under 3 minutes later, Wildcats got another touchdown. This time it was on a 38-yard touchdown run by Gage Whitaker. And then he was setting himself up there to have a career night. And then we actually brought in our new place kicker, and he converted his first extra point of the night. So we'll get into him a little bit here in a minute too. So then Wildcats turn around, and I think just over 3 minutes is when their next score came, and that was on really pretty pass to the back corner of the end zone to Cam.
Yes.
So I don't remember if there was a big rush coming on there or whatever. I think Brady really had some good time there, but threw a beautiful ball to the back corner. Cam again does what he does, catches 1 touchdown a week or runs for 1 a week. But that was a really nice play there. So that made the Wildcats up 22-0, and I put in the paper the route was on. Then tacked on another score, I think with just under a minute to go, when Slavens hit 44-yard touchdown run. And then, of course, Thomas Huveveld nailed the PAT again. So now we've doubled our production from last week and then tripled our production from the prior 4 years. There. So anyway, then the Wildcats get another score later, another one by Whitaker. Took a 36-0 lead, and then he wasn't done yet. So Gage has 3 touchdowns on the books already. And then with just over 2 minutes left to go before halftime, Whitaker scored his 4th touchdown of the night. So 4 touchdowns in 1 half, 4 touchdowns in an entire game is great. 4 touchdowns in 1 half, but the Wildcats led 42-0. They came back out 1, so it's 42-6 at half.
Yeah, it's like you said, when you go through it seemed like a lot, but it was pretty quick work of it. And as I told the kids, again, they continue to come out and said, play our style of game, and again, with all the distractions that take place with homecoming and facing an opponent that's looking for that first win. Like I said, you never know for sure, but what we did know is they come out, get to work fast, and it was another night of somebody else stepping up. They all contributed, but like I said, that was Gage had a big night for us offensively. And to do it all in the first half, it's pretty impressive, and I'm very proud of him. He
did, and we talked about that a little bit last week, how you never know where it's going to come from. It might be a Tate, it might be a Brady, and now this week we see Gage, and next week it could be Bagley.
Exactly.
You never know. So, the whole team culture there and what transpires through that offense has been remarkable to watch through the first 4 games, needless to say. So, again, Gage, 4 touchdowns there in the first half, and really those starters with a 42-6 lead didn't even see the whole second quarter.
No, they didn't, and that's a neat thing for our young guys, and that's what we talk about all the time. Is hey, these guys, your starters are going to work hard, but you guys get us ready all week, and they're not just working hard to have success, but they're also working hard to give those young guys an opportunity to see some time on Friday night. And we were fortunate to be able about halfway through the second quarter to start rotating some of those guys in and giving them not just the second half, but even some of the second quarter.
Right. So then with a lot of starters resting in the second half, we actually scored again. And that was on Ty Williams, a guy that we have started to see on special teams, seen him line up in the backfield a little bit. But Ty splits defenders, splits that second level, split safeties, and he's gone on a 65-yard touchdown run, and it happens fast.
Yes.
With Ty.
Yeah, he definitely has breakaway speed.
He does.
He has another gear for sure.
So the Wildcats go up 48-6, and then the Marksman tallied one late and made it 48-12. So, you know, like every week, it seems like here it's been execution in all three phases.
Yeah, yeah, so, we're very proud.
So Gage had a huge night. Cam does what he does. And then the defense just continues to come up with big play after big play, or a turnover, or an interception, or whatever it is, or a big stop even on the third down, and just gives us opportunities, and we take advantage.
It really did. And yeah, defensively, our guys just did a good job of, you know, there were still adjustments we had to make, some things that we hadn't seen a whole lot on film. They tried some, you know, toss reverses there, and guys did a good job staying at home. And even up front there, we just needed to tighten some guys down on the edge and just fly around 11 hands to the ball. And so great there. And then, you know, special team wise, we've been fortunate in terms of, we didn't really realize it. We were talking about special teams this week and said, you know, we haven't even shown our punt formation for 2 weeks, and
that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I think maybe, you know, one punt return, and again, we don't want to be doing kickoff return a whole lot.
Right.
So
maybe once a game.
Yeah, that'd be the perfect setting. So, but those guys do a great job of staying dialed in and being ready to go.
Right. So a few numbers we'll look at here. The team, 34 rushes for 332 yards, and that's 9.8 yards a rush. You'll take that every time.
Yes. Yep.
And put 5 of them in the end zone. So 5 touchdowns on the ground. Brady finished 7 for 8 with 108 yards. Again, there wasn't a reason to pass late with the other guys. And right on our average of 440 yards. So I think I looked at it earlier. I believe we had 427 yards against Colcamp. Then it's been 442, 448, 447. Staying right there on our average. So looking at some numbers here individually, Brady, again, the starters play into the second quarter. So these numbers maybe not as inflated as we're used to seeing.
Right.
But Brady finished still 7 rushes for 94 yards and a touchdown. You'll still take that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's good.
Even over 4 quarters. And then, of course, 7 of 8 for 108 and 2 touchdowns. And then I'm going to come back to Gage.
Yeah.
We're going to move on here to Ty Williams. He had 5 rushes for the 86. Of course, the one was a big 65-yard touchdown run. And then Bagley gets the tough yards, get a light night for him, but 3 carries for 40 yards, and then caught one out of the backfield for 13. And then Cam had 1 rush around the end there, 4 yards, and then caught 2, 34 yards again. Cam doing what Cam does and catches a touchdown pass.
Yep.
And of course, then Chapman, Boyer, they come up with receptions. But that 7 of 8 has to be pretty inspiring.
No, it really does. And you know, one thing that we notice when we're adding all these up is, I think 5 different guys or 4 different guys, you know, catching the ball, and so the distribution factor, you know, that's something I know Brady's really been working on, is reading through his progressions and spreading it out. Right,
and he did a good job of that. And then, of course, Gage Whitaker had 2 catches also. He had a touchdown reception and 12 carries. He got the bulk. 12 carries for 89 yards, 3 touchdowns, and of course that receiving 4 touchdowns on the night. I know I've said it before, but that's cool.
Yeah.
4 touchdowns on the night, and all in about a quarter and a half. Talk to us a little bit about Gage and his preparation this week. Was it something that was planned? Were we going to get on Gage and this was going to be his night, or did you just see that first play and go, he's on?
That's really what it is. I mean, these guys, and that's what's neat about being around them, is you never hear any of them ever talk about stats. I mean, they don't, you know. If they do to themselves, that's fine, but around us, they never do, and they get just excited about this guy scoring as they do about themselves. And so yeah, for Gage, I mean, he came out and, you know, we knew he'd catch the ball, we knew he could run the ball, and he was on for the night.
And now everybody else does.
Yeah, and again, it's beneficial because it's one more guy you have to, you know, really dial in and account for, and again, you know, we feel that way for all our guys. I mean, they can all do it.
Yeah. So the Wildcats, we talked about special teams, and Thomas Howe, one of our exchange students who's from
the
Netherlands. So he comes in. He didn't get a chance the first time. He missed 1 along the way, but anyway, finished 4 or 5 on extra point tries.
Yeah, he's figuring it out, and that unit's figuring it out.
And the first one that he kicked, I believe, may have been good from about 40.
Yeah, that's
maybe a little amped up for that
one. Telling some of our administration and things, said we may have to make sure we have somebody way back there.
Right.
We can't scoot back for the extra points. And so, no, he did a great job. You tell himself. Garrett Ferguson holds for him. They're just getting a lot more comfortable with those live game reps. And yeah, we gone for 2 to start out, and then we let them have at it. There was one there that they bobbled the snap and weren't able to get it, but yeah, it's neat to have. It's a neat weapon to have, and it's honestly something. Again, going back and watching the film, we're hoping to be able to get to the opportunity where if it is 4th and whatever, and we're within his range, pop him out there for that. That's kind of the next step.
And again, it's something that you've not had before this year.
No, and I didn't even think about it until I watched film, and I thought, man, we can do that now.
Right. so a great job by Thomas, and he's adapting to the game and liking the American football and stuff like that, and really cool kid. I talked to him after the game too. I think you introduced me to him, and seems like a really personable guy there. So Wildcats offense as a whole, 163 points through 4 games. That's a 40.8 per game average. So 41 points a game. Again, averaging over 440 yards on the ground. We eclipsed the mark last week of 1,000 yards, and now we are at 1,351 for the year. And then averaging 337 on the ground. And talk to us about the rush offense. I'm going to give you an opportunity to maybe talk about those guys, big guys up front. And I didn't even plan on this on the script here, but let's, you look at that and you say, we're still averaging almost 340 yards per game.
Yeah.
Through 4 games. How do these other coaches not say, hey, we got to put 7 in the box?
No, I know, and it's, we always say it starts in the middle. Jackie S., our senior center, Jackie's just done a great job of, setting the tone. Those big guys don't always like to talk, at least when we're playing. But and that's something we talk about. If you watch our O-line and some of the things they're doing, those are adjustments they are making with each other. It may look like we're pulling and doing a bunch of different things, and there's times you do, but they're talking to each other. They're making those adjustments. And at the guard position, both guard positions, those are first-year guys. Gavin Cunningham, he's been a DB and wide receiver for us, and then Jason Priest, he's a running back linebacker for us, and he's a freshman. Those guys, like I said, we actually had to tone them down a little because they are so quick, which is a great deal. But sometimes when they pull so fast. We maybe want to trap a D in and we're out by corner. And so, and with those guys, I know they rely heavily on our tackles, on the communication part with Cameron Taylor, and then Garrett McGann being out there. And again, just credit them a ton because we know as coaches, that's what's nice is we can say, hey, you're surrounded by seniors. They don't, just ask. Ask, and then Tate will play down at the tight end position, helps on the edge, and same deal. Him filling in for James Kellner, and they just again they find a way to get it done.
That 340 doesn't happen without them. And then and I'm not taking again. Our line can never get enough credit, but and then our running backs just taking pride in blocking for each other and staying on those passes, and and we're hard on those guys about hey, these guys up front are getting it done. Just stay on your path. They're taking care of it. And it's unselfish football.
Yes, 100%.
So, switching over to the defensive side here, you mentioned Priest just a second ago being a first-year guy on that line. Always been a skilled guy his whole life.
Yep.
But then he turns over and plays defense also. He finishes with 6.5 tackles.
Yeah.
So there's a young guy. We're going to talk about young guys here in a minute too. Bagley finished with 3.5 tackles. Ty had 3. And then Garrett finished with 2.5. And then we had 4 or 5 with 2. I think Tatum, Gage, Whitaker, Kendall Bagley, Drake Merle, and Garrett Ferguson all had 2 tackles, and of course Drake Merle had a big sack.
Yes.
So that came in the second half there when he was getting some time, and then Nate Banfield came up with his second pick of the year.
Yep.
So young guys out of that group there, I have to look and I say freshman, sophomore.
Yeah. No. Those guys have done, and you go through there, and we always tell those guys, hey, be a team player, be coachable. Again, Jace, he's a guy that's done outside backer, he's done middle linebacker for us. Kendall Bagley's gone down and played a nose tackle for us, kind of a quick nose tackle. Drake Merle is middle backer, and then now he's playing outside for us, and just being adaptable. And Gage has been in that role, Tatum's been in that role. There's all these guys, and again, we always just stress to them, we're putting you in a position to be successful. Just be coachable, and they are, and they've again, they've done a great job, and to that, we love the fact that when you go through your stat sheet, if you will, there's not just one glaring guy, because it's 11 hats to the ball, and then Nate Banfield has put himself in position to make plays. I think he's probably leading our defense in interceptions now, and again, we had a call on him week 1 with people all being out, and so he's done a great job of just stepping up and doing what's asked of him.
Right. So that defense giving up 32 total points over 4 games. That's an average of 8. I'm pretty good at that.
Yeah.
So 32 divided by 4 is 8 points per game, but only 160 yards a game. So still being a stingy defense. But we mentioned some of those younger guys there, and I want to talk about the underclassmen. And we know, and we've talked about Jace DePriest and your Ty Williams and Nate Banfield, and we talked about Riley Taylor a lot last week. We've seen Kendall Bagley and Drake Merle in there, but we've got a lot of other guys that are getting some valuable minutes too. And I don't, at the risk of leaving someone out, Garrett Ferguson, your Devin Bowl, Dakota Todd, Oliver Robertson, Austin Scheibe.
Yep.
Talk to us about some of these guys and their roles and how they help that varsity team prepare and get better every week, and their contributions on the field on a Friday night. Talk to us about some of those young guys.
No, 100%. They that's we talk to our underclassmen all the time, especially our freshmen. We would say, hey, show of hands from our upperclassmen, who's had to run scout team before, who's had to be that guy, and everybody's hand goes up. They've all been there. They know it's not the most fun thing to do, but just like you mentioned, it's an unselfish role. And then if our number ones are able to get it done, then some of these other guys are able to plug in. And some of these guys, they're rolling with the number ones. It may not be every down, but we plug them in. And for up front, White James and Scheibe and Devin. Those guys, again, they're in there, they're grinding, they're young for us. Those 3 are all sophomores,
right.
Which makes us very excited for the future, but they're really getting it, where beginning of the year it was, hey, if you can give us 2 plays per series, that's great. Where now it's, hey, if we need you for a whole series, get out there and we're comfortable.
And that happened last week with Devin.
Yeah.
Because Jackie went down for a short period, and then Devin popped right in, and he knew it was him.
Yep, it's next man up, and those guys have done great. And Oliver Robertson right there, he's playing that linebacker, and he also plays fullback, and he's also a guy that he went ahead and learned guard for us too, in case we have to have him. And each week he just continues to improve. He's one of those guys. We talked about all of them, but just the other day, how much he's come along and really figuring it out. And Dakota Todd, again, freshman strong. He's a no excuse kid. He never lets anything keep him back, and just his attitude is infectious. It's great to be around him, and and that's where, if you go through, and I'm like you, I don't want to leave anybody off, but you go through our special teams, you see all these guys. And that's what we always tell them. Your quickest ticket on the field as an underclassman is through special teams.
Sure. And the good thing about guys like we're mentioning, and even the ones that are slipping our minds right now, is that they want to be on that field. How do I get on that field? How do I get out there? I know we talked about one of the ones that we've listed individually, and we've said, after the game last week, he said, "Coach, I got to be there. What do I got to do? What do I got to do?" They want to be on that field, and they want to contribute on a Friday night. Yeah, and that's exciting.
No, it is. It's great, and and they're able to, again, a lot of these guys, they're able to play on those JV games on Monday, and they understand the development process, and we're fortunate where we're getting back to a point where your juniors and seniors are your main guys playing on Friday nights, and it gives you an opportunity for your freshmen and sophomores to develop at the JV level, but see some time on the field Fridays. And again, at practice, it creates competition at each position, and it just makes us better across the board.
Right. So again, that Wildcat culture. So all right, that's a breakdown of the Week 4 contest. The Wildcats win 48-12 over Sherwood. We're going to take this break, and we'll be back to preview Week 5 versus the Adrian Blackhawks after this.
J&D Pharmacy Home Medical Supply is a locally owned and operated pharmacy. Our pharmacists and pharmacy technicians will provide you with the personal service you deserve. We are a full-service home medical equipment company and accept Medicare, Medicaid, and most commercial insurance. Stop by our pharmacy drive-up window, where we have 2 convenient lanes located in the rear of the building. We look forward to serving you now and in the future with all of your health needs. J&D Pharmacy Home Medical Supply. People helping people.
All right, and we're back to the Coaches Show. I'm Adam Howe with Wildcats head coach Ryan Boyer here, and we've looked at the game from week 4 to now we turn our focus to week 5, and the Wildcats travel to Adrian for a kickoff at 7 p.m. tonight. That's over at Adrian. Wildcats 4-0, Adrian 3-1, and Coach, we got to be looking forward to this one. We may have had this one circled on the lineup.
No, it's exciting for us, and I will mention, because I forget this, the field is at their sports complex and not at their school.
Okay.
And
good info to know.
Yeah, I know. I had somebody ask me, and I double checked. So, yep, you are correct. So, yeah, this is something. It's a game last year we were excited for, and then due to COVID, we weren't able to play it, and we were both kind of. I think we were honestly sitting at the exact same point where we had lost, and they had one loss to Butler week 1, and you know they're a program. Obviously, we're familiar due to Coach Morrow, and now with Coach Miller on staff. You know he's an Adrian guy. So with it, you know they got a ton of tradition, ton of success, and we were hoping this is a situation both of us would be in for this week. And yeah, they play physical, they play downhill, and you know, and our kids they're excited, they're ready, not to disrespect or overlook any of our former opponents, but they're just ready for a challenge like this.
Right. So you mentioned the 32-28 loss to Butler in week 1. Mm-hmm. Then they go on the road to Lighthouse Christian. That's in Springfield. They won 33-20 down there. Week 2. Take a 38-8 win at Knob-Noster in week 3, and then they come from behind to defeat El Dorado, yes, a conference opponent for us. Mm-hmm. They come from behind last week and win that one 21-20. So they've been gone for the last 3 games.
Yep.
First game back at home in almost a month, and they welcome us 4-0 Warsaw. So your initial thoughts and comments?
I think, yeah, it's always nice, especially you go on the road like that. It's nice to get back home for sure. And you know, with that, obviously we exchange film with our opponents, so we're able to see those games. And you know, there are some things. And you know, El Dorado came out, they played hard. They were able to force some turnovers. So you know, with that, I'm sure you know Adrian's gonna take the same approach we did. You know, they're really challenging their kids to clean those mistakes up and. You know, make sure they're come ready to play right out of the gate, and so we expect nothing but you know 4 quarters of a hard-fought battle, and you know, and we were able to see them a little bit this summer at 7-on-7, so some of our kids are a little bit familiar with them, and a lot of the things they do, it reminds me of watching us on film, even from a special team standpoint, just to you know they got a big quarterback, athletic kid, and everything kind of runs through him, and I'd say he's. Even on both sides of the ball, he's our best football player, right, for sure. Yeah,
and you do, and we'll talk about him here in just a minute. But let's go to our offense versus the Adrian Blackhawk defense. And you mentioned it, they're big, they're strong, they're athletic. Mm-hmm. And they're big, they're strong, and they're athletic. Yep. So I've watched them too. Yep. So I would have to look at that and say, okay, then I would think that we exploit our quickness, our speed, and whatever. Talk about how our offense attacks their defense.
Yeah, it's one. I mean, anytime we can get our guys in space, you know, we're very confident with those one-on-one matchups. And we tell our guys, you know, it's, hey, some of you have decent speed, some of you don't, but you know, be physical in that space. And then, you know, as we mentioned, you know, with our O-line up front and our running back staying on pass, and say, hey, guys, this week, you know, those holes are going to be even smaller. You got to stay the path. And, you know, I always say for offense, you know, 3 to 5, you stay alive. You know, you get 3 to 5 yards, that's a great play.
And 20 years ago, they used to say 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
In a cloud of dust, yes, yes. And so, so with that, you know, our big stress to our team this week, you know, a talk that we had is, hey, they're going to have some success, as are we, is, you know, you try to win that quarter. You know, win that quarter, I say, even if it's by 7 points, 3 points, 1 point, you know, you win each quarter, and let's just focus on it like that. So yeah, offensively, we're going to do what we continue to do, but again, it's
just going to have to do it against maybe a better team this week.
Yeah, and, so, you know, and like on our stats there, you know, it may not be 9.8 yards a play. And I mean,
So great to see those numbers kind of come down.
Yeah, great if it is, and that'd be awesome. But to that, it's just being patient and again, just trusting everything that we're doing
and taking what they're going to give.
Yep.
Sure. So then we flip the ball and we look at our defense versus Adrian. We talked about the quarterback, their number 10, a big physical kid. I watched him intercept balls.
Yep.
On film. I've watched him make nice passes on film. So, like you said, a really well-rounded athlete. The running back number 24, I've watched him, and who I really think that you have to respect across the middle, especially, is that fullback number 44 catching the ball on a screen or a pass over the middle.
Yeah, and they'll get you. I mean, they're 75% run, 25% pass, and reminded me of our days of old in terms of run a lot of midline option, inside veer, outside veer, and like tell our kids, I said, guys, it's easy to watch film here and break it into pass and run. I said, but they'll get you up on the run, and then like I said, give play action and hit that tight end on the seam, or just hit guys and they're wide open. Well, it's because secondary sucks up or their eyes aren't good.
Right.
And so they do a great job executing with that. And again, until you see it live, it's just a different look, and it's something different to have to prepare for.
Right, and a lot of that will come down to the battle inside.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So, if you can win both sides of the ball there, and I'm sure that's a challenge that maybe the Garrett McGanns, the Cameron Taylors, those guys kind of step up and say, hey, tonight's it.
Yeah, if you can win that push, and again, like I said, we all grew up playing in that option scheme with Coach Morrow, and it makes any night very difficult, but especially at your mesh point, things like that. If you can, like I said, you can win it up front, it makes everybody's job behind you that much easier.
You bet. So then, looking ahead, we're 1-0 in the second season. We talked last week how we break everything down into thirds. So we went undefeated in that first third. Yep. So then 1-0 now in the second third. Won those 4 games handily. So for the first real test, I guess you'd say, and especially on the road, how do you transform that player mentality to get ready for a game like tonight? But then eventually this grind over the next 4 weeks when we have El Dorado, Butler, Skyline, Buffalo, it doesn't get any easier.
No. And what we always say is, we want to be playing our best ball by week 10. And conversation we had with the kids is, kind of walked through this and said, hey, we've been able to figure some things out, plug some guys in, and figure some of our own guys out along the way, and get the right 11 out there at any given time. And to that, we said this middle third here, this is a grind. This is a grind where the news worn off. Playoffs is kind of still too far away to really think about. But so guys, we're fortunate where our schedule is set up to prepare us for that playoff run. I said that these last 5 games of the regular season here, they are very much playoff type atmosphere, playoff type competition, and it's going to make us all the better and more prepared for what we're going to see, like I said, late in the season there.
Right. Yeah, and we talked, it's playoff type atmospheres. El Dorado is going to be conference. Butler will be conference, but they also
district. Yep.
They also are who ended our season last year.
Yep.
And then Skyline, of course, 25-30 minutes down the road. We know what they're going to give us. And then Buffalo, again, always a solid group, and the coach down there has that program rolling in the right direction. So like you said, it doesn't get any easier from here. Looking ahead a little bit, just to update people more or less, not to get your thoughts on it, but to update people more or less. Butler still holds the number 1 spot in the district, but it's very slight. They're 4-0 with 46.8 points. We fall in at number 2 at 46.33 points. So again, that week 7 contest it is, going to prove to be a big one there for those district standings. Lafayette County, again, Higginsville, they're 3-1 at 42.67. Holden is in at number 4. They're 2-1 with the 38.56. Versailles takes that 5 spot, then Noster, then Lone Jack with Kingsville. So that's where everything stands right now as far as the district standings. Let's kind of clean things up here, I guess, and recap a couple other things that happened last week.
Yes.
So we like to give our youth guys a shout out every week, and last week another really successful week for them as they kicked off. And then there's week number 2. One of them had a bye. but the other ones were in action. So that first grade group lost 26-6. Again, first graders, they're just getting going, so let's be patient with that group. Second grade, that group's still undefeated.
Yep.
And they're playing flag up in today, just like the first graders, but that second grade group's undefeated. They won 34-12. Third and fourth grade, those guys went over to Cole Camp. I can't remember who they played last week, but they won 18-6. The fifth and sixth grade boys were on a bye.
Yep.
So, and then seventh grade and eighth grade played on Tuesday night, and I believe they played different opponents, but seventh grade took an L, and then the eighth grade won 26-12.
Yeah, eighth grade played Sherwood, and seventh grade played Tipton.
Right.
Sherwood didn't have enough for both, so we're going to fill that, so yeah.
So still winning at all the levels.
Yes.
So, nice night for the varsity guys last Friday night, and then you get a good Saturday from your youth groups,
Yep.
and then a pretty decent Tuesday night with your middle school guys, and
our JV, they went down to Buffalo and won Monday night.
that was Monday night.
Yeah.
So they squeezed another win in there between. So,
Exactly. Yep.
So yeah, so another nice week for Wildcat football.
I agree, for sure.
Yep, and we want to mention and send our condolences here from BCTV, Warsaw Wildcats football, to a former player.
Yep.
This week and his family, and I know you want to mention something about that, and
yeah,
let's make some people aware of the situation.
Yeah, very unfortunate event. Lost one of our former players, Austin Rosser, due to some injuries inflicted from a car accident, and we just sent our condolences out to the Rosser family, and such a great kid, such a fun kid to be around, and family was always ready and willing to step up and
very supportive.
Yeah, help in any way possible, and just a tough situation, and like I said, we feel for them and send our condolences out.
Right. So, ending on a somber note this week, but we will still look forward to the game tonight.
Yep.
Wildcats at Adrian, 7 o'clock kickoff. Again, like you said, at their athletic complex, not at their school. So any questions, I'm sure you can call the school office and talk to them and get directions there.
Yep.
So, all right, so that's a wrap for week 4 of the Coaches Show here with Wildcats coach Ryan Boyer. We hope to see you over at Adrian tonight, and if not, tune in to BCTV, and we'll catch you there. Thank you, and see you next week.
This has been a BCE TV production. Thank you for watching.